Hey GenderqueerChat, it's Matt, and this week's topic comes from one of our lovely viewers, and it is if you were born the opposite sex or assigned the opposite sex at birth, how do you think your gender identity may differ? Would you identify as a male, female, or still as genderqueer? So this is a really interesting topic, and it was one that I thought was going to be really, really simple, but has turned out to be kind of difficult. And I have to admit, this is about the 10th take that I've done of this video, and I normally, normally the videos that you see from me are one-take wonders, so for better or worse. But this one I've tried to record several thousand times, and I'm not having much luck. So this is going to be my last attempt, and I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to say what I need to say, and go for it. So yeah, if I was born the opposite sex, would I identify as male, female, or genderqueer? Okay, I guess the first thing I need to think about here, and this is so strange because as a genderqueer person, like I've thought about this a lot. Like I've thought about what it would be like to have been born the opposite sex, or what it would be like to have the body of a member of the opposite sex, or what it would be like to not be born the person that I was born. And like I've mentioned in previous videos, if there was some sort of magical machine that you could walk into and walk out anything you wanted to be, no questions asked, I would walk into the machine and want to come out female. I believe that being female, whatever that entails, having a female body, female experiences, female life, being perceived as female by other people, I would choose that, and I feel like that would be a much better fit for me and how I feel about my gender identity. But when we're talking about how my gender identity would actually be, and if there was that magic machine and I could walk in there and walk out female, I would still be genderqueer because I'd still be me and I'd still have my worldview and my outlook and the way I feel about my gender. It's just that I would be in a body that I believe would be a better fit for me and hopefully have experiences and social and romantic relationships and a lifestyle that would be more congruent with how I feel inside. But if I had been born female, that would have been a completely different story. If I had been born with a female body and been assigned female at birth as opposed to male, I would have had a very different set of life experiences and challenges and developmental milestones and interactions and all of that stuff. If I had been born female, I may very well be a very different person to the person I am now. I may not have the same personality or the same outlook or the same worldview or the same ethics or morals or views on things like gender. So if I had been born a female, there's every chance that I may not identify as genderqueer. Identifying as genderqueer, when I look back at it, has been a process of me thinking about my own gender, of course, and that is based on the fact that I never really felt like the gender that I was assigned was a good fit, was really representative of me, and I never really fit into the stereotypes or what people or society expected of somebody who was born with that, of that sex or assigned that gender at birth. So if I had been born in the body that I believe would be a better fit for how I feel about my gender, then I probably wouldn't have had these challenges or thoughts, and I probably would have never had to confront my gender or really think about it or challenge it, and so I probably would have been more content and happy growing up as female. So the short answer to that question would be, if I had been born a member of the opposite sex, how would I identify? I'd probably identify as female. Now I'd like to think I identified as genderqueer, because being a person who identifies as genderqueer, I don't see that as a challenge or a limitation anymore. Like, I really enjoy thinking more broadly about gender. I'm really happy that I've had the experience to deconstruct gender, work out how I fit into this thing we call gender, and have developed a sort of broader picture and where I fit in, and I don't think I'd trade that for the world. But yeah, if I had been born female, I may not have had that opportunity to, or need to, think about that sort of stuff and come out that way. So I'd probably be quite content being female. I guess also, though, I think about what sort of female I'd be. And if I take it from the way that I am now and my interests and the sort of person that I am, I'd probably be not exactly your rigid kind of stereotypical view of female anyway. While I've always kind of pictured myself as maybe I'd be kind of a little bit femmy, in reality, I'd probably be a bit tomboyish. I'd be, I don't know, I don't think like I'd be really interested in really sort of feminised clothing or feminised activities. Like I'd like to think that would be into and enjoy the same things that I'm into now. And I think that would be okay, because when I think about gender and femininity and masculinity, I think females or people assigned female at birth probably have a little bit more flexibility in the way that they can present themselves or express themselves before they get too close to bending the gender binaries so much that it snaps. Someone who's born male, I don't believe has quite as much flexibility or room to move. I don't think their gender can be quite as fluid as the females. And I'm talking more about presentation and the kind of activities you're into there. I'm not talking about strict social roles or anything, because that's something a little bit different. But yeah, I certainly think that I may not present in a traditionally or stereotypically female way, but I think that wouldn't be enough to make me question my gender identity or think that there was something up with my gender identity. I think I would just feel female and present and act and be into the sort of things that I was into, and that would be completely fine and well within the spectrum of what's acceptable for a female person. Yeah. So I probably wouldn't identify as genderqueer. I'd probably identify as female, but yeah, it's such a hard thing to think about, because who would I actually be if I had been given that opportunity, if I had been born differently? How would I have changed? How would I have developed? How would I have grown? And I probably wouldn't be the same person sitting here in front of a camera on a Genderqueer channel on YouTube thinking about these sort of things. So I don't know what I'd be doing, but yeah. Anyway, I hope that made some sense. It was a very interesting thing to think about for me, and has definitely broadened my vision on that sort of way of thinking. So thank you very much, viewer, and much appreciated, and I'll see you all next week.